let's take a quick look at Gemini gems and some possible use cases around them. So you can see I've gone ahead and pinned my gems here, but what you should see is if you go to gemini.google.com, maybe you see this, you want to expand your sidebar, click on gems. There'll be some built-in pre-made gems from Google, and you can make a copy of these and alter them and kind of change them to do what you want. You could Google and look for other gems with instructions, but if you want to create your own, you're going to click New Gem, and then it's really just a couple things. So you're going to name it, give it a description so people know what it's going to do, and then instructions, just think of it as pretty detailed prompts. So you want to be really specific here. Often I go to gems when I have a long series of prompts that I've kind of perfected in the regular Gemini chat, and I want to kind of capture them and keep them because I use them regularly, and it's a hassle to try and remember all the details. The other piece is a bit like Google Notebook in that you can add kind of knowledge sources. So this is just a section of information that's going to be more prioritized when people interact with this gem. And those people could be you. You could share it broadly. You could share it individually. You have a lot of options there. So let's take a look at some that have already been made. So we'll start with kind of a simple one. This is Thomas Jefferson. You can see this is where my description goes. But if I want to go in here and edit it, I'll be able to go here. And I didn't really spend a lot of time on this, but it was the idea of kind of just messing around and having a persona to interact with, to ask questions, to kind of just kind of have some games around Jefferson. So I said, use the language and knowledge appropriate to the error. No knowledge after the date of his death, July 4th, 1826. I said use the speech documents to help with phrasing and opinions. And I just uploaded a few of Jefferson's speeches. So that gives me a little persona to act with. And I can come back and refine these rules in lots of different ways to kind of make it more interesting or behave better. And, you know, this isn't a cast iron representation of Jefferson. It's more the idea of just providing different interactions in different ways for people. Something more mechanical might be something like this OCR piece, which is I was doing a fair amount of OCR work. And this is how I kind of wrote up my instructions for an OCR tool. Extract every piece of visible text, scan and segment, transcribe, review and format, you know, and this is all my rules around it. And these little asterisks and things may help kind of define the areas of the instructions for the LLM. So now when I want an OCR thing, I can just drop it right there and it comes out pretty well. But again, this is about determining your workflows and the kind of things you want to do. In another video, I described the Korean dialogue generator. And, you know, we'll look one more thing. This is the D-Link course mapper. So this one's pretty aggressive. And seeing the instructions here are, I think, pretty illuminating. So this is the idea of like establishing a process, right? So the role that the gem is going to take is a course design expert. The process is first ask this question about the title and description, then get the competencies. Then the actual LLM is going to generate this. It's got different rules and module structures, all that sort of thing. And then it's got a boatload of different PDFs that serve as the knowledge base. What you want to be careful of here is if too much gets in here, I feel like these tend to fail, and they fail without giving you a lot of good detail. But in the meantime, you can kind of test the edges of what you add here, how refined it is, and it's kind of this back and forth between what works and how to kind of make it as little as possible so you have less to troubleshoot and deal with. It's not a science by any means, more of an art, and I'll provide links to some of these things so you can experiment with them yourself, see how well they do, or even make your own copies. But this is a custom gem. You'll see copilots in Copilot has agents. ChatGPT has GPTs, so each one of the services kind of has little different names for these types of things. But in essence, they're very similar in that you provide these instructions and you might be able to provide a knowledge base. And in some cases, you can even provide initial prompt kind of back and forth statements.